All right, Emma, for this project, I'm going to send home a dictionary page, and you're going to find 2 words at least on that page and put them together in a unified illustration. Here's an example. Here's a project. It's the dictionary page. It's actually the first page of the letter K. And I selected 2 words. I selected kabuki, which is a type of Japanese theater. And I selected kakapo, which is a kind of parrot. And I created an illustration that had these 2 random words interact in a unified way. So another example here is the idea of a sea maiden and a sea man. So the artist took these 2 random words and put them into a unified illustration. And one last example is a parakeet and a paradox. The paradox is that this cage, the way it's drawn, really couldn't exist in the physical world. It's a bit of an optical illusion. So you're going to get a dictionary page. You're going to choose 2 words. Now, dictionaries are printed on really thin paper because they're so long. So another step you're going to do is I'm sending home this gray paper, and you're going to mount your dictionary page right in the middle neatly. Use a glue stick to set it in place, and then create your illustration. And it's fine if the illustration is on the page and then even goes off the page. One last tip as you work on it is part of the charm of this illustration is that the dictionary words show through. That we didn't just choose a blank white sheet of paper to put these images on. So as you color it, you want it to, perhaps get opaque in some areas, but you also want it to be transparent enough so that the viewer knows that this is from a dictionary page. For our next project, we're going to redesign a famous character. So what we want to do is completely redesign, reimagine a character, think about its purpose. And for an example, I have this one here. This is a futuristic Little Mermaid. And so the artist imagined, what would Little Mermaid be like in the future? Perhaps cropped hair, mechanical legs, so she could walk on the earth, even though she's still a mermaid. And here's a helmet that, if you can see these slight bubbles, brings the ocean with her. So it's that idea of what creativity can you bring? Now, here's another one. Here's Goldilocks, and she's sort of a punk rocker. So she's got a safety pin through her nose. And then a good illustrator tries to bring as much storytelling and detail into the character as possible. So Goldilocks is famous for the bears, and here she has on sort of this bear-type hat. And then things were either too hot, too cold, or just right. So she has a t-shirt that says just right, and it points up to her. So it's that kind of humor and wit that I'm looking for. Now, what I don't want you to do is to take a Disney character like, Tinkerbell, and to just redress her. This isn't the idea that you're just going to take a character that exists and put them in a new outfit. Instead, you want to completely redesign it. So this would be what I'm not looking for, is taking an illustrator's idea of Tinkerbell and then just putting new clothes on her. Instead, it's like the idea of reimagining Snow White. Here's Snow White as a geisha, so she still has hair as black as a coal, white skin, and then her kimono tells the story. Here she is with the poison apple. In her obi is a illustration of her escaping on a horse as the hunter hunts her. The 7 dwarves. the evil queen. So that's what we're doing. And don't worry if, for the viewer to understand who it is, if it needs a little title at the bottom. You know, I understand that if your character is recognizable by having long red hair, that perhaps a little description might be needed. So your character is going to be steampunk Santa Claus. So you need to imagine, who is Santa Claus? What is his story? And how does that fit in with steampunk? Don't just dress him up, but really reimagine it. Bring something new to that illustration.